the Trauma Treatment Collective vlog. Today we're going to be talking about how to address attachment challenges in trauma treatment. This is one of my favorites. So let's get started. The first thing is talking about what is attachment and attachment theory. Attachment theory was funded by Dr. John Bowlby and Dr. Mary Ainsworth. And so they came up with two categories of attachment styles. One is insecure and the other is secure attachment. So within secure attachment, you have secure attachment, and that's basically the ability to be connected with a caregiver. And really we're talking about 0 to 3 and how we learn to do relationship from 0 to 3. So secure attachment is the ability to be connected with a caregiver in a secure way, to know that they're safe, they're consistent, that there's flexibility, there's attunement, that you can kind of go away from that attachment figure and come back and check in. So there's this ability to kind of be away, know that they're still there, and then to be able to go back. And so that's secure attachment. And then within insecure attachment, there's 3 different styles. There's anxious ambivalent, avoidant, and disorganized. In anxious ambivalent, that style is designed as being very anxious, very worried about the caregiver. And so all the attention of the child is focused in on the caregiver, and they lose connection with self. And so a lot of times there's this sense of urgency in this child, and they just can't quite settle. They're always working really hard to get the approval or the acceptance of their caregiver. Because the caregiver is inconsistent. A lot of times they show up sometimes happy, they show up sometimes sad, they show up sometimes mad. You're just not quite sure what you're going to get from the caregiver. And so the child is always constantly focused in on the caregiver, hoping that one day or one moment they'll show up happy and they'll be able to have that connection together. And then avoidant is very kind of dismissive and very, that style is very much a disconnection between the caregiver and the child, because the caregiver dismisses, denies, or minimizes the child's feelings and thoughts. And so a lot of times that child learns that it's not okay to share my thoughts and my feelings with others. I have to hold those things inside, and I have to learn how to auto-regulate. And usually auto-regulation is very unhealthy in ways, so they find different ways of coping that are unhealthy. Maladaptive coping skills are picked up a lot of times because they're trying to manage all of these emotions and all of these thoughts and things of that nature by themselves. And so they're very disconnected from others, and they're kind of on their own island doing their own thing because that's what they've learned in their caregiver relationship, caregiver to child relationship. And then the last one is disorganized. This one is usually very chaotic, is the best way I can put it. Disorganized attachment is when the caregiver is struggling with some kind of mental illness or maybe a substance abuse issue that's untreated. The mental illness is untreated. It's something going on for that caregiver that causes them to be very erratic and very dangerous to the child. And so the child learns that I have to keep my eye on this person, but I also have this sense of wanting to flee and wanting to get away from this person. And so they're kind of stuck in between those two, of really being hyper vigilant and really focused in, but also really scared and really wanting to get away, and not being able to choose between the two. So a lot of times they feel very erratic. The child feels very erratic in their way of doing relationship. It's like they're here and they're there and they're all over the place, and they're very afraid and very just scared and chaotic on the inside. And so those are the 3 different insecure. Again, those are anxious, ambivalent, avoidant, and disorganized. And so when you're thinking about attachment styles and you're thinking about how these might show up in a therapy room, usually attachment styles show up when a client is under stress. And a lot of times, most of the time, if not all the time, when our clients are coming to see us, they are under stress. And so that means that they're going to show up with these attachment styles intact and really kind of doing relationship with us as the therapist through these attachment styles a lot of times. And so being able to identify them, being able to notice them is really important to keeping treatment on target. Another thing to think about too is that sometimes clients can have really healthy attachment styles. So they could be securely attached to their parents, and then trauma happened, and then they develop insecure attachment styles. And so knowing how that can change things and how trauma can impact things is really important for you to think about also when you're working with clients. So I thought I would give you a couple of things to consider as you are working with clients in trauma treatment, so that you can be able to be effective in the work that you do, and you can also kind of keep attachment challenges in the forefront of your mind. So number one is providing the client psychoeducation on attachment theory. So a lot of times I will go through what I just shared with you about what attachment is and what attachment theory is and how it all develops and what it looks like. And usually when I'm going through the different styles of attachment, I actually have a sheet that I drew out some pictures to kind of give visuals as well as to be able to give some words to clients. But usually when I'm going through those different styles, clients will automatically identify with one. They'll be like, oh my gosh, I think I have this one, or oh, this really resonates with me, or wow, you kind of pinned me up, with this one, or hit the nail on the head with this one, or whatever they may say, that really lets me know that they resonate with one, or one really identifies how they feel on the inside. The other thing that I explain to them in my psychoeducation is that if they've had two caregivers, maybe they've had two parents or two people that were taking care of them in their life, they could have one attachment style with one caregiver and another attachment style with another caregiver. And so sometimes they can identify like, oh, this is me and caregiver A, and oh, this is me and caregiver B. So normalizing that for them and that feeling that may be coming up where they may identify with different attachment styles with different people, I'll talk about that. Also, assisting clients in identifying when their attachment style is showing up in session. This is really helpful because the way that we learn to do relationship from 0 to 3 is usually how we do relationship moving forward in our lives until we decide to do something different if it's one of those insecure attachment styles. And so a lot of times when I'm working with clients, I will see their attachment styles show up. If they are secure, they will go away, do the work on their stuff on the off time that they're not in session with me. They'll come back and share what they're learning. And so it's this very nice, flexible, fluid kind of relationship. They will reach out for support if they need it. And if they don't, I won't hear from them, but they'll come showing up for session and ready to kind of engage and work in the session. If they are more anxious, ambivalent, they are super focused on me in the session. And so they're worried about if they're saying it right, if they're answering my questions right, if they are what I'm thinking. They're really worried about how I'm perceiving them. So they're trying to make sure that they're communicating, and which usually leads to over communication a lot of times. And so everything is hyper focused on what I think as a therapist. And so a lot of times clients will be lost. I don't know what they think. I don't know how they feel. I don't know anything about what's going on with them. I just know about how they want me to feel and think and be in the session because they're working so hard to get me to connect with them in the way that they feel safe. And so that's more of an anxious, ambivalent presentation in session. Avoidant presentation is usually if clients are stressed or they're going through high stress situations, say there's some outside stressors or things like that, or we're doing some really heavy work in session and they're really stressed, they will kind of lock down on me. They'll clam up, they'll isolate, they'll pull away. I can't usually connect with them or figure out how to support them or nurture them in the time of stress. Nothing I say or do in session, any type of intervention I try to provide is usually not accepted. And it's a lot of pushing away and repelling me and really kind of, usually it comes out for the most part in anger. My clients are very angry and just hard to console, hard to support, hard to kind of connect with if their attachment style of that more avoidant is showing up because they've never had anyone support them or never known how to be in that type of relationship where they feel stressed and they've known that somebody's going to consistently be there and it's going to hold space for them. And so a lot of times they'll push away from me. And then with disorganized, very rarely do I have these people stay in session. But if they do, a lot of times they are kind of blowing out of session or kind of just very all over the place, just bouncing around from topic to topic, things to things, just kind of feeling very scattered and very chaotic. And I don't quite know what we're working on in session because everything just feels like it's kind of been thrown up in the air and it's just all over the place. And so this is more of a disorganized type of attachment style that might show up in session. So when these things are showing up in session, a lot of times I will use this opportunity to talk to my clients and share with them, you know, hey, I think right now we're kind of in that style, and really encouraging them to move towards a secure attachment style with me and being able to connect with me in a way that's supportive to them, as well as going to help move their therapy forward. The third thing that I would encourage you to do is speak directly to the client's attachment challenges in session. So instead of kind of being like, man, why are you like, so say for instance, a client is being more avoidant, instead of kind of engaging with them or trying to figure out why they're so angry, I just will say, hey, you're safe. I know it's hard for you to trust me right now. I know it's hard for you to actually know and feel that I'm going to be here consistently for you, but just know that I'm here, I'm with you, and that I am going to work with you through this. And take your time, you know, don't feel like you have to share or talk about too much. Take your time and we'll work through it together, and just know that I'm here with you. So that's a way for me to speak directly to their attachment style versus getting caught up in what the symptoms are that they're presenting and trying to figure out why they're so angry. I just recognize that they're angry because they're scared and they're not used to being in connection with other people when they're going through stressful situations. And so my job is to help them to feel safe and secure and to be consistent and stable and attuned to what's going on for them, and really being able to put words to that and help them to label that and to identify that so that they can kind of understand what's happening for them. So the more you can work with attachment styles, the more you can educate your clients on attachment styles and trauma treatment, the better. I definitely think it shows up in the work that we do. And I think the more and more that we can be aware of it and work with it, the more and more we can help our clients from becoming derailed in their treatment and actually moving forward in a way that's sustainable for them. So hopefully this is helpful for you when you're thinking about how to address attachment challenges in trauma treatment. And I'd love to hear your comments. So definitely comment below. Let me know your thoughts on this. Let me know if it's something that you see. Also, let me know if you get stumped or stumble with some clients on basic things. Please don't put any identifying information, but I'd love to be able to help if I can. This is something that I'm very passionate about and I love talking about. So feel free to reach out to me if I can be of help. Thanks and have a great day.